Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell, and you know what time it is? It is 1 o'clock Eastern, and it is time for Thrive, the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to turn uncertainty into your greatest competitive advantage. You are in for a treat today. I have the myth, the man, the legend when it comes to sales, Joe Pici. Joe, I am just going to hit the video. We're going to do a little intro, and then I have a load of questions for you. Sound good?
Let's go.
All right. Again, welcome to Thrive, the show where we really discuss what it takes to really succeed no matter what the marketplace throws at you. And wow, we are looking at a crazy 2023, wherever you fall on the scale of looking at uncertainty. And now is the time in fourth quarter to really get ready for that. So I have called in the big guns. I don't really know anybody who knows more about sales than Joe and his incredible powerhouse wife, Dawn. But for Joe, there's a couple of people who may not know you. How do we describe who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about your story?
Well, specifically, I mean, when it gets down to sales, there's so many great sales coaches, trainers, expositors, and they're all great. But what we decided to do was be experts. 85% of what we do is tactical based, application based. So we specialize in helping people generate a lot of leads. Then we specialize in helping them master the live outbound telephone call to book quality appointments. We use consultative sales training. So, it doesn't matter what industry we're in, everybody needs business. And so we put ourselves in a position where we're going to take the hardest part of sales, which is how do you pick up that phone and qualify someone and not waste your time talking to the wrong person, but start the process of consultative sales.
So good. That's such a good place to dive in here because, again, here we are. We're recording this in October of 2022. And wow, have we been on a ride for the last couple of years. What do you feel? What do you see as some of the biggest challenges sales professionals? And then I want to separate and talk a little bit about sales leaders. But what do you see as some of the biggest challenges they're facing right now?
I think one of the things is they get off the mark. They're looking for a new gadget, a new technique. They mistake marketing with sales. Look, sales is about a process. It's not about you and I both know charismatic, talented human beings. Sales is not about that.
Right.
Sales is about, do I have a solid process that will weather every bad economy? Do my people have the skills they need to execute? And do we have a way to measure and hold people accountable for all of those things?
Why is there so much resistance to a sales process? I think one of the funniest things about salespeople is that we're so anti-process. I mean, me included. When I first started, I was anti process. But wow, does a process make a difference? And you need a process. But why are we so anti-process?
I think it starts with people having this myth that there's certain people that have this gift for selling. When I started selling, I had about 3 or 4% closing ratio, and I fed my family because I love to work. Now it's 95%. Well, what got better? I got better. My skills got better. So the beginning of the problem with processes is people hire or people think I have to have this innate talent. And then when you use the word process, they feel like it's inhibiting, and yet it's very freeing, because no matter what's going on in our lives, no matter what the economy is, no matter what happened, whether it was COVID or 2008, no matter what, we've always grown every year because we stick to our process.
Hmm. How do you think process is changing right now?
It's funny because I think here at Peachy and Peachy, and we also have a second business, Sell More Virtually. I don't care if it's an inbound call, an outbound call. I don't care if it's a referral. I don't care what it is. I put them into our process. Now, are there adjustments? Absolutely. But I think another thing is we have too much of the idea of the month. Well, let
Mm.
me fix my process. See, clients cannot follow charisma talent. Clients can follow a process. Now, I'm not being over demanding with people, but I know from the moment I get a lead, it goes into my process and it works in every industry. I'm in every industry when it comes to sales. I'm not talking about marketing. I'm not talking about leadership. I'm talking about sales.
Okay. So I agree with you. I think, I mean, one of the, something I love is like when I look at books and people ask me about my favorite books, I always go back to books that were written in like the 1930s and the 1940s because it's back to the fundamentals, right? I mean, we put a little different sugar and a little different icing on the fundamentals, but it isn't rocket science. And I think we're always looking for the easy way to do it. I mean, when people ask me all the time in the keynote business, why I work. I think one of the biggest reasons I work is I'm consistent with my process. I
Right.
mean, being good at what you do, having a great product, those are tickets to entry. If you don't do that, you're not going to get repeat business. But I have seen time and time again a great sales process with a weak product succeed
Oh, yeah.
over an amazing product with no sales process. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a couple times a year, I have a 3-day sales boot camp. I allow 28 people from all different industries, all different behavior styles, all different products, all different everything. Most of them have never made a phone call to somebody that wasn't a warm lead. And we plug them into our process. And on day 3, we do live outbound calls in real time. We usually get about 75+% on conversion to appointment. We'll close a lot of business in real time because some of those phone calls go right into meetings. So these are people that learn the communications, the value propositions, all of the messaging, all of the things. And then when they finally get to the phone, it's the conclusion and it's not hard anymore. So they learn skills that will allow them to sell any product. All they have to know is what the results are of the product.
So, what are some of the most important parts of the sales process?
It's, we come from the same school. It's simple. See, people try to complicate
I would
sales.
agree.
And I think and some of the prognosticators of sales make it want to be real brainy. Sales is based on the 4th grade level. Okay? Because you're selling to different people. And if you confuse people, a confused mind makes no decisions. So everything starts with how many different ways am I generating prospect leads in my target market on qualified people? It starts there. The second thing is how am I going to get in front of these people? We choose the phone first. Now, I know other people are successful doing other things. We choose the phone first. And so we work very hard on messaging and scripting and how to get a return phone call and how to navigate the gatekeeper. Those are all skills. And the third one is when I finally get the meeting, do I have a consultative approach? Those are the first 3, okay? Your leads, your appointment setting, your meeting, and then you go into the next step, which is follow-up and proposal and close. So it's not a lot of steps, but it takes tremendous discipline,
Yeah.
all right, to stay on that cycle.
So, what is a sales leader's role in that?
This is the part I think if you want to know why things go sideways, it's your sales leader. And I know you train and coach and mentor and speak to sales leaders. Number one, most sales leaders have either forgotten or never really sold what they're leading on. So they don't have a grasp of what's going on in the marketplace. Okay. The second thing is they don't know the most important things to measure. And we measure everything here, everything that goes on. I do all our selling as well as our training. So I measure everything. When I work with teams, we're measuring everything. But then the third thing is, how do I hold the people accountable to executing those tasks? Because I always tell sales leaders, what if they don't? What if you invest all this money? What if you get the nicest, shiniest product? What if your salespeople don't do their job. So accountability is a big factor.
Yeah, huge. So let's answer that question. What do you do if the salespeople are not doing their job? I love this because I just had this with a client this morning. They've got a couple of people on their team who are not hitting goal. And I'm really arguing that the sales leader needs to have a good understanding of what's going on there, of what's happening there, correct?
Fix them or fire them. I
Mhm.
mean, it's like this, and I don't mean to sound overbearing, but sales is a very simple process that you hire slow, you fire fast. And so first of all, you have to understand, they have to understand, is this an execution problem or is it an effort problem?
Yep.
If they're doing the work and not closing business, they need more training. But if they're not getting out of bed in the morning, I always tell people, you hire self-discipline and ambition, you train everything else.
I love
Okay.
that.
And if you got to get people up in the morning, if you have to get people to work that full week, then you have the wrong person. But if they're working that full week and their numbers are down, then you evaluate where are the gaps in their ability and you train that.
Jaber asked a great question here, and that is, what does sales mean to you?
What does sales mean to me?
Uh-huh.
Basically finding solutions, benefits, results, and value for a client.
I love that. I love that. Joe, why did sales get such a bad reputation? It's so funny. I think it is. I always try to really encourage women to go into sales for a number of reasons. I mean, like it or not, we have a lot of responsibilities in life. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a great husband who helps me out quite a bit, but I still have family commitments and still feel responsible, even though he'll pick up the ball and run with it. And I love sales because I can make great money and have a lot of flexibility in my schedule. I think it is such a great job for women. But a lot of people just say, I don't like sales. I don't want to sell. And I think sales to me, it's like a natural human thing to want to do. I mean, we want to help people, and there's no better way to do it. I mean, you and I go, we listen to customers, they tell us what their problems are, and sometimes it fits our products, sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't matter. We find a way to help them. It's like, it's such a natural way to be. Why did he get such a bad reputation?
Well, it's simple. Because you're consultative, unconsultative, you said the key. You ask questions.
Hmm.
There's two types of sales. There's consultative and transactional. And when people are sold to transactionally, they get a bad taste in their mouth. Get to yes or no as quickly as possible. Push and close and use this technique and use that technique and do this. And there's a million books on how to shorten the sales cycle to close quickly. It's been
Yeah.
my experience. And people say, Joe, you're great in sales. No, I'm not. I'm great at finding buyers. Okay. When I sit down with people and we do our discovery, I have a 5-step process to sales. Step 1 is discovery. When I find out, what they don't want, what they do want, and when they want it. Okay. When we get through the process, it's not me using some closing technique. It's me finding out, do you want to take the next step? Do you want a formal proposal? Okay. And no is okay for me. I've
Yeah.
never had to give money back. Okay. And 95% of the people, if I sit down with them today, within 12 months, they become a client because I never stop following up, which is another, 92% of sales professionals never follow up.
Wow. I
You know,
mean, never,
90,
never,
no,
never follow up at all?
they either never follow up after the first no answer, after the first no, after whatever the first negative thing in their mind was, they're done. And I followed up with Blue Cross and Blue Shield for 10 years. And I followed up with NAI Real Best Caldwell Banker for 10 years. And I never hammered them, but I have a follow-up sequence I follow, and it went to contract. So it's, again, a lot of the negative aspect of sales comes from the transactional technique of the one call close. I won't even go into companies that want me to teach a one call close because it's totally against what I believe.
I can't even, I can't, I always think that first of all, I mean, I kind of expect a no kind of right or a no response. I mean, if you don't know me and you never heard of me, you're busy, right? I mean, I look at my own behaviors. I look at my own email inbox. Even if it tweaks an interest, I don't know you. I don't have any reference. It's going to take me a while to kind of warm up to that.
Email. Okay. And again, I'm not anti-email. Don't get me wrong. But with cybersecurity now so high, companies are telling their people, if you do not know who's sending you the email, do not
Yeah,
open it.
right.
Only 6% of non-invited emails are being opened. I get a much higher rate on that first call.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love the phone. And that's why when we opened up Pici and Pici, I said to my wife, Dawn, what is the hardest thing to teach, the thing nobody wants to learn, and very few people really want to embrace? And she said, it's easy. I've studied 1,000 sales coaches and trainers. It's phone calls live. So we built our whole business around that. Now we do other things, I promise you. But what weathered every bad economy for us is I will not take a sales training contract that I'm not training live outbound telephone calls.
Wow.
I have to protect my brand. I'm not pretty. I don't look like some of these sales trainers out there. I've got to get a competitive edge.
Yeah. But let's talk about the phone today. I mean, the phone, people are busy to people. Do you concentrate a lot of your efforts? What about the voicemail message and all those types of things?
We have, and I know every time I say the word script, 90% of the people bristle.
Yes.
So let me address scripting. The best actors in the world are Italian. Brando, Pacino, De Niro, and they're all scripted.
Mm-hmm.
When you own a script and you use what I call spaced repetition, which is consistent action, the script will not sound like a script. But you better know what you're going to say on every situation. So we build out entry-level scripts. We build out qualifying scripts. We give, what do you say to gatekeeper? How do you get a return phone call? But when we train it, it's not, we don't hand scripts. I don't sell scripts. I have to take them through the process. Okay. And
Okay.
so we have a B2B market. We have a B2C market. Believe it or not, as you would know, our B2C market weathered COVID.
Right.
All right. But we have equally, we go after small, medium, and large companies, but then also individuals. The scripting is tight. And so once you learn what to say, how to say it, and you master what to say when they don't answer the phone, what do you say when that quote unquote, I don't call them gatekeepers, I call them decision makers.
Mm-hmm.
Once you master that and you have the discipline to time block your calls, the rest of your life comes down to one thing, generating leads, because you're going to go through a lot of names.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The question that I have around that is that I get a lot of call these days and people saying it's harder to get to the decision maker. Would you agree with that?
No.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. They don't have a script for it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I mean, look, you are a specialist at what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two ways you can look at salespeople, coaches, trainers. You can go horizontal or vertical. And never understood that when Dawn and I started this, hey, we do communications training, we do conflict resolution training. We have a program where we work with speakers, coaches, and trainers, not on how to talk. We have a whole training on how to make money consistently, the business side. But what is our anchor is tactical consultative sales. We've
Okay.
been doing this for a long time. In fact, the first
Right.
time we met, we were doing it. Now, we stay vertical, which means we get better, which means we can train it better. And if
Okay.
you don't get better at your craft, you need to go do something else.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. It's so funny. I had somebody call me the other day about joining the National Speakers Association. I'm the incoming chair for that organization. They were young and wanted to get into the industry, and they said, "I'm looking for somebody to find me speaking." engagements, wanted somebody else to do it for them. And I said, well, the National Speakers Association isn't really about that. It's where you learn to become a better speaker and build a better business.
Right.
And when we spoke on the phone, I asked him to give me a call. He said, I don't really need to learn to be a better speaker, and I don't really need to learn to build a better business. And I just thought, you're not my target
Right.
market, because anybody who believes we are not on a consistent journey of improvement. I mean, I think one of the funniest things that we do for a living is that the people who really need us are always in the back of the room or don't stay. And the people who are already hitting it out of the park are the ones up front, ready to take notes and ready to learn more, right?
Yeah, I don't want to waste your audience's time with all of the stories,
Yeah.
but I will tell you this. My lowest closing ratio is when people call me.
Yes.
My highest closing ratio is when I find a cold lead on LinkedIn and call them. I don't send them a note. I
Yeah.
call them. That's my highest closing ratio
Yeah.
because I qualify them. They don't qualify me. And I think if your audience can grasp something, the outbound call is not about selling or booking appointment. It's about finding out if they're a potential prospect lead. That changes the whole game.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, gosh, it is hard to believe we're coming to the end of this.
Can I
Uh,
give out a gift? Can I
and
give out a gift?
absolutely, we would love that.
I have a gift for everybody. Take out your cell phone
Mhm.
and put the word in the message box, sales edge. Make it one word. If it breaks it up, some of the iPhones break it up, put quotes around it. Sales edge, and text it to 55678. It's going to take you to a link. That link should be peachy and peachy. If it's not, go back, do it again because it split the word. Sales edge to 55678. There'll be a peachy and peachy link. Hit the link. That'll take you to a splash page, and there is a free masterclass webinar,
Oh, that's awesome.
9 Essentials of Sales Success. You're not going to be inundated. You're not going to be emailed to death. You will have a free webinar. It's about 20 minutes. It's literally the non-negotiables of sales success. It'll take you through every bad economy.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. We'll make sure we get that in the show notes as well. So text sales edge, one word, to 555
No,
678.
no, it's 55678.
Oh, whoops. 5555678.
Yeah, take 15 out.
All right, I'm going to put it in there right now. All right. So as I put the right one up there, I'm doing it right now. There you go. 5568. Text Sales Edge to that number to get a free masterclass webinar. Joe, give us how do people get a hold of you? How do they find you? And what is your last piece of advice for any
All
sales
right.
professional or sales leader looking to thrive in uncertainty?
Okay. Number one, pick up the phone and call 407-947-2590 for a complimentary cup of Joe.
Okay.
Second thing is our website, peachyandpeachy.com, PICIANDPICI.com. Our second business with tremendous amount of what do you call it? Virtual free information is sellmorevirtually.com. And then send me a LinkedIn invite. Okay. I
Nice.
promise you this, you will never be hounded by me. You might be called and find out if there's something we could do together. And if not, no is okay for me. But reach out for that complimentary cup of Joe, 407-947-2590. And here's my closing comments. Find the prize, find the price, and pay it.
Nice. All right, Joe, as always, you have been amazing and have given us a wealth of information. We'll make sure we get all the free goodies that you're giving away here in the show notes as we wrap this up and put this out into a podcast. I want to thank you, the audience, for being active and engaged today, and look to join us right back here at 1:00 Eastern next week for another episode of Thrive, turning uncertainty into your greatest competitive advantage. We'll see you next week.